Hi everyone and welcome. I hope I'm back on a permanent basis, but I wanted to come on and chat with you, catch you up, let you know what's been going on. Some of the projects I've been working on, this cowl, pie cot stitch, crocheted scarf, this beautiful throw blanket. It's perfect for this time of year. And I've even started some of my holiday baking. I've made pumpkin roll, and today, while we chat, I thought I would make my jam thumbprint bird nest cookies. Of course, they're not mine. It's the recipe from Ina Barefoot Contessa. It is the best shortbread recipe I've ever used, and it's so versatile. Stay tuned and let's chat. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am thrilled and happy to be back. My name is Mary Ann. I am aging gracefully. For those of you that are my faithful subscribers, thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for inquiring or giving me words of encouragement that you miss me and hope I'll be back. And I hope so too on a very regular basis. So today, I did not want to put it off any longer. And I thought, you know what? I've got cookies to bake. Starting my holiday baking, I'm going to take you into the kitchen with me, and I'm going to chat with you and let you know what's been going on and what I've been doing and some of the reasons that I've been missing. And I'm going to do all the work and just bake my cookies, and I'll share with you what I'm making. These are one of my favorite cookies, and these are from the Barefoot Contessa. I'm not sure which cookbook the recipe is in, but I will show you that this is one of my favorite cookbooks by her. I've had it for a long time. It's called the Barefoot Contessa Cookbook, and she has recipes in here for these cookies. So the recipe dough is all the same. It's just how you shape them. So one of my favorites, and it is her recipe. I don't think the specific recipe though is in this book as far as the shape of it, but the dough is the same, and it's simple and easy, and it's a buttery called shortbread hearts. One is the Linzer cookie, and the other is the pecan shortbread, and that particular one has the nuts in it, and you can either roll it out or make the shapes of your cookies however, whatever way you decide. So one of the cookies that I make, it is by Ina. They're called the bird nest jam thumbprint cookies, and what makes these so delicious is that, well, you have to be a coconut lover, otherwise you won't like these, that you roll the little balls into coconut, and then of course you stuff them with jam. And I happen to be using raspberry jam because I think it's festive for the holidays. These freeze up beautifully, and they are very delicious. And this has just come from the oven, and it's fresh and yummy. So I am going to be freezing these, and then I'll take them out when I need to use them. So again, the recipe is in this Barefoot Contessa cookbook, and if you want specific instructions on the jam thumbprint bird's nest, you can look that up. I'll try to find even a reference for you. But what I wanted to do is to invite you to come into my kitchen while I talk and do the work to get these cookies rolled up and into the oven, and just catch you up with what's been going on and why I have been basically missing. I hope that you'll come into my kitchen, so grab a nice hot drink, whatever you'd like, and please know I'm so happy to be filming this and to be back, and I hope you enjoy it. So now I just have to sample the cookie, because you can't put them away unless you just try one. Mmm. Mmm. just the cookie itself is so delicious. It's tender, it's buttery. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Mmm. It literally melts in your mouth. It is so good. My favorite. Mm-hmm. Mmm. This recipe that's in her cookbook is so versatile, and it is probably the best dough combination of any type of shortbread or my door. It is the best cookie dough. It's so buttery and so tender, and it is delicious. Oh, the wind is blowing my door open and shut. But I love this recipe because it's versatile and it's so yummy. Mm. Put it on your cookie baking list. It's worth it. So, come on with me and let's get into the kitchen and get baking. Today, I have been wanting to film a video for the past week, and I thought, you know what? I have lots to do, so I'm going to come to you from my kitchen while I bake cookies. Let me show you. I'm making what are called jam thumbprint, or also known as bird nest cookies. I'm trying to get a little bit of a jump start, on holiday baking. And so I thought, well, let's kill two birds with one stone and let's bake and talk. So grab a cup of coffee or your favorite drink, and I'll let you know what's been going on. First of all, I hope that you're doing well, and I am doing well now. So I went through a little bit of a rough time after my mom passed, and most of you know I was her full-time caregiver, and she passed away this year in April. But I kind of want to go back to the end of last year because it actually started even then with my youngest brother, who lives in the Philippines with his wife, had a massive stroke and passed away also. And so trying to care for my mom and getting through that with my brother, all of it was just difficult, lots of stresses involved. And then of course when my mom passed, her wishes were that we bring her back to Ohio, where her final resting place would be, with my dad. And so all of that had to get taken care of, and I'm rolling here. And I get back, and I actually thought that things were going to be easier for me. Now, I had been doing that for 5 years, and she lived with us here for 5 years. And just a little background information. She lived in my mom was born and raised in Italy. She didn't come here till she was 17. She lived in the same town for all of her life up until the past 5 years. So it was a hard transition, a difficult move. So long story short, I just went through a hard time. And through hospice, they had recommended, this was during the time my mom was still alive, that they actually gave me some information so I could get in touch with a counselor, a private counselor that I could talk to. And I did that, and she has just helped me tremendously. She got me through the last year of caring for my mom here, And it was during the time of COVID, so everything we did was online, on the phone, and it was an hour session that I had once a week with her that was just so relaxing to me, and it was really so helpful. Um, my mom was difficult. Coming from just, I guess, a foreign country, she developed quite a few um, insecurities. And they were bad insecurities. They weren't easy to live with. And it was something that I recognized as a young person in the household. And, you know, you just think everything is normal. So it was hard. And even with my nursing background, I felt that I was going to be able to handle this. I was going to be fine with her care. And even though she was aging and she was getting more difficult, I thought my knowledge of what I know about caring for the elderly would be sufficient. And, you know, we could muddle through it, but that was the farthest thing from the truth. And I didn't feel comfortable ever sharing or talking about it because it wasn't really my place to talk about it at the time. But obviously, we got through it. But I had a lot of difficult times, a lot of rough times. And I just want to say, for those of you that have been caregivers, that are caregivers now, or anticipating becoming a caregiver to someone, you have to really think it through because it is difficult. You find yourself in situations where even your family doesn't understand what you're doing. And they want to be helpful, but it turns out not to be so much help as it turns out to be more problematic and a hindrance. But I don't really want to get into all of that. I just want to say it was difficult. And part of the difficulty stems from the fact that I always had a difficult relationship with my mom. I loved her, and she loved me the best way she could, but it was hard. It was just very, very difficult. So I had a lot of struggles during the care that I was giving her because she was not appreciative. She was grouchy, crotchety, just like many, many people are, irregardless of what their age is. And it made it difficult for me because I was always spinning my wheels trying to figure out how can I satisfy you, which of course I knew deep down I never was going to be able to satisfy her. So long story short, after she passed, I had a very difficult time. You know, when you're making decisions for someone else's life, it is very difficult. It's very, very difficult. You're always questioning, am I making the right decision? Is this the best thing I can do for her? It takes a toll. And it did take a toll on me. And when I came back from Ohio and had a different sense of home, it was hard. And I thought it was going to be easy because I think one of the difficulties for me was just getting out because we had been home for, you know, a year with COVID. And I really was in the life mode of I always have to hurry up. I always have to go out and come back home and hurry up, because I ended up having to hire a private duty nurse to come in once a week for 4 hours, sometimes twice, so that I could get out, go to doctor's appointments, go to do grocery shopping, my errands, run bills. But I was always in a hurry, always on a timeline. And that way, when I was home, I was on a timeline for my mom. She needs meds at this time. She needs to be turned over at this time. She needs food at this time. And, you know, it was just so hard for me that when I got back, I just wasn't clear-minded thinking. It was hard because the whole situation was thinking that I would have this smooth transition when we got back, and I found myself being exhausted, not thinking clearly, anxious, very anxious. And yet I was trying to concentrate on having freedom of being able to go out. But it was problematic because I always kept thinking, I got to get home. I got to get home. I couldn't find myself relaxing. I couldn't get to a mindful, relaxing state. And that was just difficult. And then I was just doing things that were weird. Just, maybe I would go in my back office room and look for something, and then I would find that, why do I have the box of Tide in here? Because evidently I was doing laundry and I'd have the box of Tide in my hand, and then something distracted me, and I went in that room and put the box of Tide in there, or my Tide Pods, and I was thinking, well, that's weird. And I just started to notice that there was things like that I was doing, and I wasn't thinking clearly. I wasn't sleeping well. My sleep was constantly being interrupted because I was in a mode of having to take care of my mom, and I always had an ear out for her because she was naughty a lot. She was not supposed to get out of bed, but she would. And I had bed alarm for her, side rails, and that even made it a little more dangerous because she would just crawl over it. And so I was always getting up, checking on her. And, I just found afterwards that I can't relax. I can't sleep. I feel like a walking zombie, and I just didn't have the energy. And I kept thinking to myself, how did I do this? My days were so full. How did I just go from the time I got up until she went to bed? And some days, many, many days, she wouldn't sleep because she was afraid. And so it made it hard. And while I was talking with the counselor, she had suggested that she was making a recommendation that I go on medication, some anti-anxiety medication. She said, it will help you. And I fought it. After seeing her, after my mom passed, I was able to go to the office to have my little weekly visits. And, I was sharing with her because I spent probably a good solid 5 weeks grieving and just at the drop of a hat crying. And, my dad's death was very peaceful, but I'm not sure I saw that as for my mom. She did just finally weaken and she slipped away, but with my dad, we had a different relationship. And the counselor explained to me that I experienced a good death with him. And I was there. He was also in hospice in the hospital. And it was a good experience. It wasn't a bad experience. And she said, but you also had a different relationship with your dad that brought you comfort and security, and it was unconditional. Whereas what we discussed with your mom, it was based more your relationship on conditions. Um, so she basically said that makes a difference as to how you're going to grieve in the end. And I finally started to understand that. And so through therapy with her, I decided, yes, I do believe I need to try some medication because I'm stressed. And I really and truly want to have better sleep, better energy, and just to forgive myself for everything that went on during her care, because I think you end up feeling guilty about so many things because you're constantly making decisions based on someone else's life. And that's tough to swallow. Okay, I got to do this here. I guess I'm not going to do what I thought. So, anyways, I finally thought I would give in because I just knew I wasn't thinking clearly. I knew my mind was racing constantly. I couldn't finish one thing. I would do one thing and start another and then another. And I always felt like that's just not me. And I kept having overwhelming feelings like, how did I do this? How did I get all this done? And doing it in the midst of difficulty. But as it turns out, I did go to the doctors, and she wrote a prescription for a mild anti-anxiety. She said, I think this is a great idea. I think you're going to notice that you're going to have more energy, you're going to feel better, you're going to sleep better. And she just said, give it the therapeutic time that it needs to work. Some people notice a difference in a couple weeks, some it's more 6 weeks. And I started to feel better in about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I was gaining my energy back. I was getting up, rested. I felt rested. And it was just a godsend. And I wish I wouldn't have fought it so much when I was taking care of my mom, because it really gave me a great sense of inner peace. And that's what I needed. I needed my mind to stop racing. Okay, she wins. I have to get her a treat, so I'll be right back. Oh, she just, boy, sometimes she knows how to get me. But so, anyways, just to make that situation understandable, that's really why I have been missing. I've been extremely busy. I had so much that I had to do to go through her belongings, take care of her estate, and it was just mind-boggling. It's hard, it's difficult, making sure everything is taken care of and finished and completed, and cleaning out her 2 rooms. I found myself, I can't really rush this. I don't want to rush it because I just wasn't ready for it. And I did get it done. I worked on it slowly. And I started to get out a little more and just remind myself that I don't have to rush. I can take my time. So it really is a matter of being able to retrain yourself. And you have to remember, it was 5.5 years that I had her with me, and my being was totally different. I had to give up a lot. I couldn't go a lot of places, do a lot of things. And there was a lot of times she wanted to come along and tag along, and many times we would take her, but it would end up being very difficult to do that, especially at the end. But anyway, all of that being said, I am back on track. I am sleeping better. My health is back on track. I'm able to get out and walk. And now the weather is cooperating because it's finally cool here. And just back to feeling myself, but better. So I wanted to just come along here and share a couple of things that I've been doing to get myself into that relaxed mode. I've been doing quite a bit of crocheting and reading, and now I'm into holiday baking. So I wanted to share this with you, some of my crochet projects. And I was very fortunate that my very best friend that I haven't seen in 5 years finally was able to come and visit me for a week. We had a wonderful time. And this was in, she came in August? Yes. It was either the end of July or the beginning of August. She stayed for a week. We had a blast. Our kids treated us to an overnight spa visit, and we just had so much fun. But before she left, she said, let's get out your fall stuff and decorate. And I was thrilled because she is wonderful at that. She has such a beautiful eye. And share with you some of the things that I've been enjoying. So I hope you'll stay tuned and watch. I'm happy to be back. I hope that everything is going well for you. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you is my crocheting that I've been doing. That is a hobby that I love to do at this time of year especially. It's very comforting and soothing. And yet sometimes it can be frustrating, especially when you're trying to learn a new pattern. But you really have to be in the right mode, because if you're not willing to pull apart and do it again, and pull apart and do it again, then you're not going to be successful. So I like to crochet because it is comforting and soothing, and it actually is one of those old world hobbies that I learned back when I was probably 5 or 6. I can remember my mom and grandma giving me a crochet hook and just yarn, and taught me how to make a chain. And I probably made a billion chains and made necklaces and bracelets, and that's really how I learned. So what I have been working on this year, and these particular patterns are from, oh, let me think for a minute. I'll list it below because I don't want to give the wrong information. I will make a reference below as to who created this pattern and where you can get it. I follow her, and I usually will try to make something that she shows especially during the holidays. She's a great crocheter, and I love the things that she makes. And she's really detailed about explaining to you through her videos, and it's just really a lot of fun to watch. So I made this, and these are my favorite colors. It's a cowl, and in this climate, especially where I live, sometimes just a heavy sweater and something around your neck I usually use my silk scarves for that because they're so warming. But this is, I'll bring the camera down, really very, very pretty. It's soft and it just feels good on. And then this is like a headband. And I think I've seen them just put them on to cover their ears, wear them over their ears. Again, this is very comforting, blocks the cold, and keeps your head basically exposed, which a lot of times I like that because then I don't get overheated and start sweating. So I've made a couple of these, and the other combination that I made is right here. And I think this is really pretty. And you know, there's just so many variations that you can make with the pattern. It's amazing. And I just love the stitch that she teaches. It's so easy. And it's just really a simple stitch, but it is just really pretty. And then earlier in the year, like towards the end of summer, I started working on this blanket and I finished it. And again, it's from the same gal that shared the pattern and her video. And I love listening to her because, like I said, she's very detailed, but she has a very soothing voice, and she just explains everything so well. Her directions are easy to follow, and it's just one of those hobbies that I seem to really get into at this time of year. And I pretty much do take the recommendations that she does offer as far as the type of yarns she's using for a specific project. And then after I make one, then I go ahead and I sample it for myself, maybe by using something different. So I just thought I'd share that with you. I will see you on my next video. Bye.